In the beginning of this week's Torah portion, there's an amazing story where Yaakov and Esav, who had had issues years ago, and Esav chased after Yaakov to kill him. There was a reunion, they came back together. And Yaakov says to Esav, he sends messengers to tell him that he should know, Im Lavan Garti, that I lived with Lavan. And Rashi says, why is he mentioning that he lived with Lavan? He knew, obviously, he lived with his family. He says, because I want you to understand, Esav, that Im Lavan Garti, I lived with a horrible, horrendous, wicked man for 20 years. V'taryag mitzvos shamarti. And I kept all 613 mitzvos. And even though I was there, you may think I'm coming back and I have fallen off the spiritual wagon and you'll be able to overcome me. Understand that I walk with God stronger than ever. And the question is, yes, this is true, that even though he was with Lavan, he still kept the 613 mitzvahs, but was he the same person? And it's interesting, when Yaakov is a young man and he runs down and he sat and he learned at the Yeshiva Shem Aver, he learned in Yeshiva Talmudical Academy for so many years. On the way down to Lavan, he had a dream. And what was the dream? Angels going up and down into heaven. But that wasn't the only dream. He had a second dream after 20 years of living with Lavan. And that second dream was, he was a shepherd, and Lavan was constantly tricking and playing games on him, and he had a dream that asked Lavan to keep all the spotted sheep. And so he would ask him to keep the spotted ones, and they would all become spotted. He asked the speckled one, the striped one. His dreams were basically indicating what types of sheep he should ask for that would be born from Lavan in order to make him a wealthy man. Now, this obviously helped him to go on and to have dollars and to be able to move on from Lavan. But it is a fascinating thing that after spending 20 years in yeshiva, Yaakov is dreaming of angels. And after 20 years of living with Lavan, someone who was a wicked man, he's dreaming of money. And although he kept all of the mitzvos, you could tell that there was a little bit of a different outlook that came about, because you can't spend 20 years with someone and have no influence be upon you. And that is the challenge. One of the greatest challenges in Judaism is finding a chevra, finding a group of friends that are strong, that are with you, that appreciate spirituality. There is nothing in the world more important than spirituality. And what hurts spirituality? The opposite of spirituality is not being not spiritual. It's cynicism and sarcasm. To be cynical, that destroys Judaism and it prevents you from connecting to the Almighty. I want to share with you a story that broke my heart. Over the many years, I've worked with many families, and there was one family that was debating about making a bar mitzvah for their son in the local shul. And they decided they were going to do it, but they wanted to make sure that he could do the HaTorah and also sing Musaf, which he would have done somewhere else. And so he goes ahead and he reads the HaTorah, and many times when bar mitzvah boys, they're up there, they practice, they go a little bit slowly. And so when he was related Musaf, the last part of the prayers on Shabbos, he started to sing it. And it went a little slower than some of the congregants were used to. And so they were getting fidgety and all nervous that they wouldn't finish on time or as quickly as they would have liked. And so they started singing along with him, but in a mocking tone, not in a very nice way. And I looked back and I saw the boy's mother, who had realized what happened. And I realized that my heart was broken watching this scene. Because cynicism and sarcasm destroys Judaism, it destroys spirituality, it destroys people. And so many times we want to practice religion and we get cynical, sarcastic, and we don't realize the damage we're doing. And I took it upon myself, I'll never forget this, that no matter what synagogue I was in, if someone was singing, or someone was trying to approach God, or someone was pouring their heart out, I don't care how off-key they are, you have to encourage it. You have to encourage closeness to God. We can never look down on that. We must take cynicism and sarcasm and cast it aside. We must support people in spiritual pursuits. It doesn't matter if we have to wait a little bit longer or whatever it is. It's so important to who we are, because cynicism and sarcasm breaks the spiritual heart. And what builds up a spiritual heart is supporting people in their quest for the Almighty.